it's a bit of a rainy day out. I'm just going out to the shed now. Cloudy sky. Bit of a drizzle. And apologies, the shed's a bit of a mess, but I'm just processing a piece of timber, piece of Loquat, just stitching it off with a panel saw. I thought I'd try and make a pipe. I've seen the fruit wood pipes, cherry wood, pear wood. I mean, this is Loquat. I wouldn't say it's far removed from cherry or pear. So I'm just getting it to a square piece, and I'll make a block, and once it's sawn I'll see if it is suitable to make a pipe from. Okay. There we go. Another side done. One more to go. Okay, so there's the general idea. I'm just taking it to a square, well, close, rectangle, relatively square corners, removing the sapwood. Now I'll just remove these pieces and I have a relatively square block to try and visualise a pipe within. Okay, so there we have our flitched out block. And Loquat's quite a very tight grain timber, very light. I mean, I think the tightness of the grain, it should be a good wood for smoking. And yeah, I'm getting rain on that, so I'll go put it back in the vice stand and we'll see what we can do. Okay, instead of just blindly charging in as usual, I thought it mightn't be a bad idea to actually draw a few lines out on this piece of wood and see what size pipe I can get out of it. I mean, I don't think I'll get a pipe much bigger than this. I suppose I can't look at it without smoking it. Now I thought this was the wider end, and it's running across the grain at a little bit of an angle, so that'll give a bit more interesting pattern and maybe a bit of resistance to splitting. I mean, I've never made a pipe before. I have made pipes, clay pipes, I think maybe a wooden pipe, but yeah, I don't know if using that grain there is going to be my undoing, but I'm almost tempted to put it on this end at this point. But I think there's a bit more height there, so I'll just grab a pencil and I guess roughly sketch that outline on there. Probably can't see this. Just to give me some idea of proportion for when to saw it. to a bit closer to that shape. I mean, that's probably a good enough guideline there. I'll just put it on the other side as well, and I can sort of work around that, and then at a later point maybe refine that somewhat. I did want a Canadian, maybe I'll make it longer, perhaps something like that. Okay, you get the idea. Okay, so we're a bit closer now. I'll just mark this up for a centre, and saw that out so the stem of the pipe has begun. Okay, so there we go. A very basic pipe block. I'm not sure at this point, I might switch out to a finer saw, take a little bit off, turn those squares into octagons into hexagons, etc. I mean, is that a quarter saw? No, not really. Yeah, okay, I'll see what the strategy is from this point. I'm getting there. As I said, I'll just go for a little bit longer stemmed than the Nicholas, a little bit smaller pipe, if it gets there. Okay. Okay, so I kept going with a nice fine tenon saw, roughly a pipe and tenon shape. So there we go, roughly the same size. We'll work from there. I don't know whether to drill it. I'll probably get stuck in with a rasp or hand carving tools. I'm not sure at this point. But yeah, there's the basic shape. Sit in the hand alright. The line, that's not too bad. And it is going to be a freehand pipe. It is just saw work. Right. Bit more work with the rasp. It's starting to look somewhat like a pipe. I mean, this is just an experiment, just some practice. I know that I probably chose the worst piece of wood possible, but most of that will come out. Yeah, we'll see how we go. At least it'll have some character. It's looking a bit big, but I'm going to take a fair bit off. Alright, back to the rasping. Okay, here we are a bit later. Bit of sanding, bit of rasping. We're pretty close to a shape. Yeah, like I said, it probably wasn't the best piece of timber, but I don't know, a bit of a fill. A bit more sanding to go, but yeah, there's a bit of character, but there's a rough shape. I said I wanted a sort of Canadian pipe, but it's, I mean, even if I don't get a functional pipe out of this, I mean, look, she's a bullseye. It's a good practice. I'll find a better piece of timber and make a more functioning pipe. I've got a piece of burl, something along these lines. Some ironbark root burl. This one was too small to get a pipe out of, but oh well, we'll see how we go. Alright, so there's a funny camera angle. Alright, we're going to get a sweep for drilling. This is going to be a critical stage. I'll just check her for plumb, check her for square. Looks okay that way. That's going to go that way. Put it in the middle. It's a pretty good centre. No idea what sort of drill that is. It's the longest bit I could find in my box. Probably totally the wrong speed. Moved and I tightened it. This old clunker drill press. I mean, as long as I don't bust out the other side, I can't really go too far because the hole for the bowl is going to meet that hole. Maybe a tad more. That's good. We should have penetration at least to there. Hole drilled, pretty close to centre, pretty clean. Call that a successful operation. Let's go find a bit to drill the bowl. Okay, so I'm over at the other drill press. I've just tightened that down. I've sort of worked out that the nickel has had a bit of an awkward spot here, but it had about the same diameter chamber as this drill here, which I'm worried is a little bit broad for that pipe, but I started it by hand, got it roughly to centre. Pretty good. Alright, I might just start that and then I'll have to change down, I will. Okay, contact. I mean, some people say you should drill a pilot hole, some people say you shouldn't. I decided not to. And that might break out at the top, but I had planned to lose some height. It's looking like it might be okay. Most pipes have got a pretty flat bottom to their bowl, so I guess the standard twist drill should be pretty good. I don't think you need any special reaming bit necessarily. I'm just going to take this good and slow, mainly because I'm too lazy to change belts. Also, I don't want anything to move. Slowly but surely. It'd be nice if that side hole lines up. Sure. I don't see any hole. Well, I reckon I'm through in that direction, so I mustn't be through in this direction. Let's do it by hand, it should align itself. Still seems a bit deep. I'll go a bit further. I don't know what else to do. Well, it's got to be to there. So either it's straight, or that needs to be deeper. But it looks deep enough. I don't know where we've missed. Okay, so there we go. I just put the stem off the Nicholas on it. I will probably make a stem out of another coloured wood, a darker coloured wood. I mean, that works alright. I'll blend that in. I'll give it a bit more of a sand. I'll give it a buff. Yeah, it's a, I don't know, a Canadian-esque pipe. I'm sure I've seen a pipe with a similar shape to that. I don't know what you'd call it. Anyway, it's a Loquat Wood Canadian-esque. Excuse the messy desk. Alright, I'll give it a buff and a bit more of a sand and we'll see what we got. Well, there she is. After a quick buff. I did it on a dirty buffing wheel. It's an old trick. I end up with a carbonite-grey, I'm going to call it. Charcoal grey. A bit of accentuation of the grain. I don't think this camera's doing it justice. I'll take a few still shots. I mean, it's not beautiful, but it's not bad either. For an afternoon's work, an evening's work. Let's see how she smokes.